Hey guys, so now we're going to go ahead and code our intro screen. So we want to go ahead and start by going to our yellow events tab and adding when green flag is clicked. Once we're here, we kind of want to think about, well, what do we want to happen when our green flag is clicked? So we want to make sure that we go into looks and that we show our intro screen. We want to make sure that this is in the front layer, that's going forward 1, just to make sure that's all the way at the very front. We're also going to go inside the blue motions tab and add a go to X and Y. Depending on where our intro screen is, our X and Y's are going to be different. So this has already been filled out for me. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into looks and add a clear graphic effects at the bottom. So now we have exactly what we want our intro screen to do when our green flag is clicked. Now we want to go ahead and make this into a button. So we're going to go ahead and go back to our yellow events tab, and we're going to use when this sprite is clicked. So when this sprite is clicked, we're going to go into the looks tab, and we're going to go ahead and set our ghost effect to 0. I'm going to go into control and add a repeat, and I'm going to change this 10 to a 20. I'm going to then go into looks and add a change ghost effect by 5. So now what this is going to do is it's going to slowly hide our intro screen. But because the repeat happens really fast, we're going to go into control, add a wait 1 second above it, and we're going to change this to 0.05. Once we've had that, we're going to go ahead and go into looks, and we're going to make sure it completely hides itself. And then to make sure that it starts playing our game, we're going to go inside of the yellow events tab. We're going to broadcast a new message, and we're going to call this play game, and click OK. So these are the 2 blocks of code that we've made. And when we test out our game, click on my green flag, everything's fine. Click on play, and then it hides. So that's awesome. Now, you guys can also add a double effect. And what this means is when this code is running, another code is running at the same time, doing 2 effects simultaneously, or at the same time it's happening. So to do this, I'm going to go ahead and hover over the code that I already have. I'm going to duplicate it. Next, I'm going to go ahead and play around with it. So there are a bunch of different effects. There's some that affects the color, some that affects the actual image, like a swirl, pixelate, mosaic, brightness. You guys can play around with all of these until you find a pair that you like the most. And this doesn't even have to be a hide too. It can be whatever else you guys want. A hide is just better because I like the effect of something fading out to then showing the game. But if you don't want to have that ghost effect, you can choose 2 completely different ones, so it's always fun to play around with it until you figure out the one that you like the most. I'm going to go ahead and add the whirl, and I'm going to go ahead and change this as well to the same one. And then I'm going to go ahead and just delete the broadcast. We already have a broadcast here, so there's no point in having it. But now, if we test out our intro screen and see exactly what happens since we added 2 effects, this is what essentially happens. Okay. So again, play around after you're done coding with these 2 to kind of figure out what 2 different types of effects you guys want to add for your intro screen, so when the player clicks it, it does a fun effect before it completely disappears, and then it begins playing our game. Once you guys are done with this, we're going to go ahead and move on to create a paddle.